This bike's ownership numbers in China are really, really low. Why did it take us over 2 months to get this bike fully serviced and upgraded? Because this bike is rare, so no one in the country stocks its core parts. We had to resource them overseas, and the wait time was very long. When you all hear this Suzuki big bore roar, doesn't it take you back to those days? At the MTC East China store, we received a GSX sent in by a follower. What's the issue with this one? From our initial startup check, the chain seems a bit loose. Looking at the odometer, it's at almost 30,000 kilometers, over 29,000. At this point it's about time to check this chain. Right now the bike runs normally, but the owner reported an odd noise, so we need to confirm if it's the chain. We'll also need to open up the timing chain and inspect the condition of the cylinder head. Next, we'll have to disassemble this bike. During the teardown, we'll document everything. Cylinder 1 intake valve. Cylinder 2 intake valve. Cylinder 3 intake valve. Cylinder 4 intake valve. There's a problem. It's over 6 units now. 7 units, whoa. There's a problem. Cylinder 3, listen, it's leaking air, right here. Alright, turn off the light, lights off. This one's leaking air, down to 80%. Severely out of spec. Cylinder 4 is the most standard. Cylinder 4 has no problem at all. We just finished testing this bike's static and dynamic conditions. For the dynamic test, we measured cylinder compression. As for the compression, all 4 cylinders were fairly even, basically around 12 each. But the static test showed a problem. In cylinders 2 and 3, there was valve air leakage. Cylinder 3's exhaust valve was the most noticeable. Based on our visual inspection and experience, we're about 80% sure the valve leak caused cylinder 3's exhaust valve to develop pitting and this kind of condition. We'll take a closer look once it's disassembled. A lot of you are curious, the compression is fine, so why does it fail the airtightness test? Because compression is a dynamic test, while the airtightness test is done in a static state, checking the seal under those conditions. In the short term, it might not cause serious problems, but over time, a hidden risk has already developed. This valve leakage will keep getting worse, and eventually lead to cylinders 2 and 3 losing compression. Guys, we've finished pulling the cylinder head apart, and now we'll do a quick test of the airtightness. Cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 8 exhaust valves. Since we haven't removed the valve springs, the keepers and springs are still in place, so there's no need to hold it down by hand. Cylinder 1, no problem. In the earlier footage this should be cylinder 2, and cylinder 3 has a bit of a leak, cylinder 3. Look. Just now there was only one valve, guys, just this one. Now we can see. This exhaust valve is the worst. And next is this one. We've checked the exhaust, now let's check the intake. Cylinder 1. Cylinder 2. Cylinder 3. All okay. There are many ways to run this test. You can use plain water, you can use certain solutions, you can even use gasoline. A lot of you say gasoline penetrates better, I know that too, but this here is the simplest method. When a lot of riders tear down an engine and see the tiny pits under the exhaust valve, some say it's from carbon buildup. Some say it's bad gasoline, and others just say the valve quality is poor. Today let's clear this up once and for all. What exactly is exhaust valve pitting? Remember this key point: pitting almost only shows up on exhaust valves. It's rare on intake valves. Intake valves draw in cool air, so the temperature stays low, while exhaust valves push out gas at over 1,000 degrees, operating around 800 to 900 degrees Celsius. It's one of the hottest parts in the entire engine. The pitting is concentrated right on the valve, on the seating surface. This doesn't happen all at once. It's tiny leaks combined with heat, eroding it over and over, creating these small pits. If it's not dealt with in time, the metal surface oxidizes at high temperature, a vicious cycle. The pitted valve seals worse, leaks more air, the pits get deeper and deeper, and engine pressure loss gets more severe, eventually leading to a serious misfire. Some valves can be repaired, but some need to be replaced. The solution depends on each bike's condition. After measuring, you can see the original timing chain has already stretched significantly and needs to be replaced. Later, the owner also asked us to change the engine oil. Later, the owner also upgraded the exhaust headers. Guys, when I say these 3 letters, GSX, isn't this bike super niche? But don't get the wrong idea, not the GSX1200. This bike's ownership numbers in China are really, really low. This is a Suzuki GSX1200. Why did it take us over 2 months to fully service and upgrade this bike? Because this bike is rare, so nobody in the country stocks its core parts. For its wear parts, we had to resource them overseas. And the wait time was very long. This time, the timing chain and tensioner set took us over a month to order from overseas. As for this bike, the owner from Wuhan came to us for a full service and upgrade job. As for the servicing work, you all saw in the video. Maintenance on the front and rear suspension, engine servicing, brake servicing. There were also some brake issues before, and we resolved those this time too. This bike also got a complete, thorough overhaul, inside and out. Some of you might say, it's only just over 40,000 kilometers. Does that mean the engine is failing? That you'd need to replace the timing chain? Actually, it wasn't broken. And tensioner? As you saw in the video, the original timing chain had already stretched. What signal does that send you? If it stretches any further, there's a risk the timing system could skip a tooth. And skipping a tooth would cause valve damage. You might say, so what, it's just a valve. But you probably can't imagine what happens on an engine revving to 10,000 plus RPM. The instant it skips a tooth and hits the valves. Just how catastrophic that would be for your bike. We've personally seen many race bikes that weren't maintained to spec end up with some very serious problems. Even something as small as a single screw, any tiny little part. If you don't maintain it regularly, the engine will carry a major hidden risk. Replacing these wear parts ahead of time isn't about repairing this engine later. It's about preventing problems before they happen. Besides servicing this bike, we also did some upgrade work. Of course, the upgrades on this bike aren't anything flashy in terms of looks. This bike's upgrades are mainly focused on braking. This time, we replaced, for the owner, a USB VRC direct push brake master cylinder, added a Whisper Easy Pull clutch, and for the front brake lines, replaced the whole bike with HEL brake lines, and did a custom front routing design. Originally, this bike had a T-shaped rotor, and the brake pads were also pretty worn down. So we swapped them for ATCR race-grade brake pads. There wasn't much more upgrading beyond that. I know what everyone's been waiting for. You just want to hear this GSX1000 start up and hear its exhaust note. When you all hear this Suzuki big bore bike's roar again, does it take you back to those days? Alright, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and follow me for more racing know-how.